Risk comes from not knowing what you are doing by Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett's quotes highlights that risk often arises from a lack of understanding or knowledge about situation. When individuals or investors act without adequate information that they are more likely to make poor decisions that can lead to financial losses. By emphasizing the importance of knowledge and preparation, Buffett suggests that informed decision making can help mitigate risk and lead to better outcomes. Have you ever been in a situation where so much time are being wasted with unnecessary activities? Yes, a common example of a wasted time in meetings that lack clear agendas or objectives. For instance, a team might spend an hour discussing in an email or resolve quickly through a few direct correction. This not only can consume valuable time but can also lead to frustration and decreased productivity as a team member leave feeling that or on time that your mind is so jammed up you don't know which one to do first. Yes, a student might face this situation during finals week, overwhelmed by multiple subjects to study for a project to complete. They might have a math exam, a history paper, and a science presentation, all due within a day. With so many tasks at hand, they may feel paralyzed, unsure whether to focus on studying formulas, writing a paper, or preparing their presentation, leading to procrastination and increased stress. Pareto's principle: expand your business with the 80-20 rule. Pareto's principles, or the 80-20 rules, states that roughly 80% of effects comes from 20% of causes. For example, in business, 80% of sales might come from just 20% of customers. This principle suggests that by identifying and focusing on the most impactful activities or elements, individual and organization can achieve greater efficiency and effectiveness in their efforts. Sa Pareto's charts is a type of bar graph that visualizes the principle of 80-20 rule. It displays individual values is this descending order, allowing user to see which factors contribute most significantly and to a problem or outcome. On the left, the bars represent different categories or causes, while the right side typically includes cumulative percentage line. This format helps identify the vital few issues that warrant attention, enabling effective prioritization of efforts to improve a situation, such as reducing defects in manufacturing or addressing customer complaints. Okay, Pareto's principle history. The Pareto's principle is named after Italian economist Wilfredo Pareto, who is in 1906 observed his country, Italy, and found out that 80% of its land was owned by only 20% of people. Sabi daw dito, the Pareto principle, also known the 20 rule, highlights a common pattern where a small portion of the population control a large portion of resources. Wilfredo Pareto's observation in 1906 that 80% of Italy lands was owned by 20% of 20% of the people illustrate this inequality. This principle has since been applied to various fields, suggesting that similar distribution can be found in business economics and even personal productivity, where minority of inputs often lead to the majority of outputs. Would you like to delve deeper into its application or historical context? Pareto's principle history, the study extended and found out the 80-20 thing also transpired in other countries. Furthermore, the Pareto's principle, now mostly called as the 80-20 rule, does not imply on land ownership only. It can actually be seen in many aspects of society, business, and life in general. The Pareto's principle, originally observed by Wilfredo Pareto in the context of land ownership in Italy, has been found applicable in various countries and contexts. Subsequent studies revealed that the 80-20 distribution appears in numerous areas, including wealth distribution, where a small percentage of the population hold the majority of wealth. Beyond economics, the 80-20 rule is evident in business, where a significant portion of sales often comes from small percentage of customer or products in this management. It suggests that 20% of activities can lead to 80% of result. This principle highlights the importance of identifying and focusing on the vital few factors that generate the most significant impact across different aspects of society and life. Would you like to explore specific example or application of the principle?
The 80-20 is everywhere in business. 20% of the worker produce 80% of the result. 20% of the customer will create 80% of the revenue. 20% of the product accounts for the 80% of the sale. So, sinasabi dito sa 80-20 is everywhere sa business. Yung mga worker is nagpo-produce ng 20% sa 80% na result. And yung mga customer nag-create ng 20% sa 80% ng revenue. At saka yung product accounts is nag-create ng 20% para sa 80% ng mga sales. The 80-20 is everywhere within the society. 20% of criminals commit 80% of crimes. 20% of beer drinkers drink 80% of the beer in the world. 80% of factories pollution originates from 20% of all factories, and 20% of students have grades 80% or higher. So, sinasabi dito sa 80-20 is everywhere, is applicable din siya sa society. So, sinasabi dito na 20% of criminals commit 80% of crimes. And next is 20% ng mga manginginom ay nagko-contribute sa world ng 80%. And 80% ng mga factories polluted ay nanggagaling sa 20% sa lahat ng factories. And sa 20% ng mga estudyante ay meron silang 80% na grade or higher. The 80-20 is everywhere in life in general. 20% of an average person's activity is the reason for 80% of his progress. 80% of happiness brought by your friendship actually comes from 20% of your friends only. So, sinasabi dito na 20% ng isang average person. Average person's activities is naglolob sa 80% ng kanyang progress, and 80% ng happiness na nanggagaling sa friendship ay nanggagaling lang sa 20% ay ang 20% sa mga kaibigan mo. So, sinasabi dito, ang 20% ay ang output ng 80%, o yung 20% is yung input and yung output is yung 80%. So, dito sa next slide, how about the other 80? The same is also true on the other side. So, pagbabalik na rin mo lang. So, next is 80% input and 20% output. So, yung 80 is naging input na, and yung 20 is yung naging output.
What do Patero's principles want to indicate? That most things in life are not equally distributed, leading to the fact that the 80-20 rule implies that in any given situation, 80% of the effects is produced by 20% of the causes. It is always 80-20? No. It could actually be a lot stiffer. 85-15, 90-10, or 93-7, etc. It can also be a bit smaller, like 70-30, 74-26, etc. It's always 100 when added? No. It could also be 85-20, 74-10, 21-32, etc. So why it is being called the 80-20 rule? The 80-20 thing in relation to its nowadays application should not be treated as exact entities, but rather a symbolic number. Ang 80-20 rule o Pareto principle ay nagsasabi na halos 80% ng mga epekto ay nagmumula sa 20% ng mga sanhi. Sa makabagong aplikasyon, hindi ito dapat ituring na eksaktong numero, kundi bilang simboliko, reputasyon ng ideya na ang maliit na bilang ng inputs ay kadalasang nagdudulot ng karamihan ng mga resulta. Ang prinsipyong ito ay naghihikayat sa mga organisasyon at individual na tumuon sa mga pangunahing salik na nagdudulot ng pinakamahalagang resulta sa halip na maligaw sa mga detalye. No matter what the ratios or the bottom line is, it leads us to the contrary, that the minority of the causes produces the majority of effects. Same as on the other side, that the majority of the causes produces the minority of effects. This teaches us to focus on the more important aspect of life, the vital few. Focus on the more important aspects of life by making us to do more by doing less. Ano man ang mga ratio, ang pangunahing mensahe ay ang maliit na bahagi ng mga sanhi ay kadalasang nagdudulot ng karamihan ng mga epekto. Sa kabilang banda, ang karamihan ng mga sanhi ay kadalasang nagresulta sa kaunting mga epekto. Ituturo tayo ng prinsipyong ito na dapat nating pagtuunan ng pansin ang mga mas mahalagang aspeto ng buhay, ang mga vital few, sa pamamagitan ng pag-prioritize sa mga pangunahing salik. Mas marami tayong makakamit habang pinapaliit ang ating pagsisikap na nagresulta sa doing more by doing less. How can Pareto principle be applied in business? To increase revenue, you could try to increase sales. The more you sell, the more profits you should make. Negotiate better. Deals with your suppliers. Cut excess overheads. Companies often retrench staff to do so. or increase price. If you can sell the same amount of goods at higher prices, you can make more profits, and so on. In short, eliminate waste and improve the process, which is Lean Six Sigma. Sa kabuuan, ang layunin ay alisin ang basura at pagbutihin ang proseso na tinatawag na Lean Six Sigma. Ang metodolohiyang ito ay nakatuon sa pagpapabuti ng kahusayan at kalidad sa pamamagitan ng pagbabawas ng basura at pagbabago sa mga proseso na nagre-resulta sa mas mataas na kita. The question now, can a company do all these things spontaneously? Because in business, you can generally don't have the resources, time, energy, and management focus to do everything at once. Secondly, the Pareto principle teaches us that not everything is equal important. What we should do is identify those actions, the vital few, that will result in the biggest increase in profit. Then focus first on it. Not using 80-20 wisely may cause the business to prioritize the least important, which is definitely do not constitute a leap forward. Maaari bang ipatupad ng isang kumpanya ang lahat ng mga estratehiyang ito ng sabay-sabay? Sa katotohanan, kadalasan kulang ang mga negosyo sa mga kinakailangang resources, oras, enerhiya at focus na pamamahala para gawin ang lahat ng sabay-sabay. Bukod dito, itinuturo ng Pareto Principle na hindi lahat ng gawain ay may parehong halaga. Kaya't dapat tukuyin ng mga organisasyon ang mga vital few na aksyon na nagdudulot ng pinakamalaking pagtaas sa kita at itoon ang pansin dito. Ang hindi wastong paggamit ng 80-20 ay maaaring magdulot sa mga negosyo na mag-prioritize ng mga hindi gaano mahalagang gawain na tiyak na hindi makakapagbigay ng makabuluhang pag-unlad.
Ganito gumawa ng Pareto chart gamit yung Microsoft Excel. So, rearrange mo muna yung data mo from A to Z at from smallest to largest value. After nun, kukuhanin natin yung sum ng lahat ng value na yon gamit ang alt equals. Next, punta naman tayo sa CP. Pumunta tayo sa CF. CF yon na typo lang. CF is called the cumulative frequency. So, ano nga ba muna yung cumulative frequency? Ang cumulative frequency ay yung kabuuang bilang ng mga value na meron tayo. So, kaya ang ginawa dito sa Excel ay ipinag-add yung mga value simultaneously. Naman tayo ngayon sa pagkuha ng percentage. So, equals lang siya, then yung first, at yung total, then slash, tapos F4 para makuha yung dollar. Then, drag down lang to calculate all of the data. Then, after nun, select ulit natin yun, tapos click natin yung percentage sa ibabaw ng numbers. Select ulit natin, right-click, former cells, percentage, then decimal points 1 para makuha natin yung decimal na gusto natin. Next naman is yung pagkuha natin ng CP or yung tinatawag na cumulative percent. So, para lang tong CF, ang pinagkaiba lang nila, percentage ang CP. So, ang gagawin ulit equals, then yung first data, enter, then equals ulit, first data plus second nung percentage, then plus, tapos drag down para makalculate lahat. Kukuhanin na natin yung chart na kailangan natin. So, hindi pa ako ganun kagamay mag-Excel, kaya ang ginawa ko na lang is kinat ko muna siya at ginilid ko. And then, sinelect ko from item type to CS. Then, pagka-select, punta ng insert. Then, recommended charts. Tapos, i-click lang yung clustered column. At yun na, lalabas na yung Pareto's chart na kailangan natin.
How can Pareto
Di,
principle
kukuha.
applied on our daily life? The Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule, state that 80% of the result come from 20% effort. The principles can be applied in many areas of daily life, help increase productivity, effectiveness, and focus that truly matters. Here's how it come and use different aspects. Time management. Prioritize tasks. 20% of your tasks may lead of 80% of productivity. By identifying focusing on the most important tasks, you can achieve more and less time. For example, instead of spending time on non-urgent tasks, tackle the most impact ones first. Daily routine. Streamline your daily routine by identifying the small set of activities contribute to the majority of your daily efficiency. For example, 20 minutes of exercise routine might be account of 80% of your fitness progress. Productivity. Work efficiency at work. 20% of the tasks, you may generate 80% of your success. Focusing on your high value activities can be helped you get ahead. This could be involved spending time of your key project rather than getting bogged down by meeting or emails. Learning when learn a new skill is 20% concept of account for 80% of your understanding. For example, learning the most important grammar, rules, vocabulary will help you quicker fluency in a language. The Pareto principle helps you to focus on activities, relationship, decisions that have biggest impact on your life. By identifying, concentrating on the vital 20%, you can maximize the efficiency, productivity, and satisfaction while minimizing the time and energy spent on less important things. Social interaction. The Pareto principle suggests that 20% of interaction or relationship may account for 80% of your social fulfillment, happiness, or network growth. This concept encourages you focusing on your time, energy, and most meaningful connection rather than spreading yourself to them. Here's how it applies. Friendship and relationship. Keep friendship. 20% of friends may be contribute to 80% of your emotion, support, joy, and meaningful interaction. Instead of trying maintaining frequent contact with the acquaintance, investing in a different few relationship may lead to greater personal fulfillment. Strengthening bonds. By focusing on the close of the most meaningful connection, you can build deeper trust, understanding, and companionship. This relationship can give you the most term emotional satisfaction and support during tough times. Networking. Professional connection in a business or personal context. 20% of contacts may be provide 80% of your career opportunities. Advice or growth. Identifying the nurturing this high value relationship can help advance your career or business more effectively. Building value network. Instead of trying to connect with everyone, focus on the most influential and beneficial contact in your network. This is individuals who can be introduced. You can key opportunities to provide guidance or collaborate with you on a project. Applying this Pareto principle to social interaction encourage you to focus on the people conservation that bring you the most value of your life, whether it's a friendship, networking, social media. Identifying the key relationship and interaction that be account for most of your happiness.
fulfillment, and opportunities allow you to build stronger connection without wasting energy or less meaningful interaction. Relationships suggest that 20% of your relationship bring you 80% of value, joy, and emotional fulfillment in your life. This principle can be help you to focus the most meaningful connection to prioritize relationships that truly matter. Here how it applies. Family relationship, focusing on the key of a member. In your family, 20% of relationship may bring you 80% of love and support you need. Instead of trying maintaining the close ties with everyone, focus on the family member who playing the biggest role in your life. Emotional fulfillment. Family relationships often with a mix of obligation and genuine emotional support. Prioritize relationship with a family member who can contribute positively to your well-being can be lead more balanced, fulfilling family dynamic. The Pareto principle helps you to focus on 20% of your relationship that provide you 80% of your emotional fulfillment, joy, and growth by recognizing which relationship have you most impact on your well-being. You can be prioritize your time and energy on those that matter most, leading deeper, more meaningful connection and less stress, superficial or draining relationship. Day-to-day usual activity. The Pareto principle can be applied to many our day-to-day activities by helping us to focus on the most impact tasks that lead to majority to our result outcomes. Time management. Prioritize the task 20% of your tasks on your do list often lead up 80% of your productivity by identifying the focus. Those few impact tasks is the vital few that contribute the most to your goals. You can be more effective to save time. Work and productivity at work. You may be find 20% of your efforts, key project or client interaction lead you to 80% of your results, such as promotion, recognition, or income. Focusing on high priority rather than low impact tasks will help you to achieve more. Business Start Small by Richard Barson. Richard Barson's philosophy of a big business start small is about focusing on small, manageable steps, refining ideas, and learning from mistakes. Before scaling up by starting a small, entrepreneur can take calculated risks, maintaining financial discipline, and build a strong team. Ultimately, this approach helps to create sustainability business that can grow into something much bigger over time, as demonstrated by Virgin success across the various industries. Barson's key message is to think big but start small, grow through persistence, and remain adaptable to change.